Greetings, friends. Prepare for another thrilling journey as we delve into Reddit's most bizarre tales. We're plunging deep into the quirkiest corners of the web. Grab your popcorn and join us on this adventure. Remember to hit subscribe and like. Let's begin. I never imagined that at 39 years old, I'd be recounting the story of how my seemingly perfect marriage crumbled into a heap of lies, greed, and betrayal. What started as a fairy tale romance turned into a cautionary tale of love gone wrong, where money, luxury, and superficial desires took precedence over genuine connection and happiness. It all began in the year 2000. I was 15 and she was 14 when I first laid eyes on her. I had just stepped into a cozy little cafe in our small town, looking for a quiet place to unwind after a long day. She was sitting by the window, sunlight pouring over her like she was some sort of ethereal being. I was instantly captivated by her beauty, her poise, the way she seemed to float through the room as if she owned every bit of it. We started talking that day, and before I knew it, we were inseparable. Our connection was deep, or so I thought. We would spend hours discussing our dreams, our futures, and what kind of life we wanted to build together. She was everything I thought I wanted in a partner, and I was convinced that our love was the kind that would last forever. In 2004, after 4 years of dating, I finally mustered up the courage to propose to her. She said yes, and I was over the moon. But that was when the first cracks in our relationship began to show. Her demands for our wedding were nothing short of extravagant. She wanted a wedding dress that cost a whopping $11,000, and she insisted on having our wedding in Italy, complete with all the bells and whistles. I was taken aback. We had always been comfortable financially, but this was way beyond our means. I tried to reason with her, suggesting a more modest celebration, but she wouldn't hear of it. To her, our wedding was an opportunity to showcase our love in the most grandiose way possible, and she wouldn't settle for anything less. Reluctantly, I gave in. I drained my savings and took out loans to make her dream wedding a reality, hoping that once the wedding was over, she would be satisfied and we could settle into a more modest, happy life together. But I was wrong. The wedding was only the beginning. After the wedding, I expected her to relax, to settle into our new life as a married couple. But instead, her demands grew more and more outrageous. She wanted a brand new luxury car, a sprawling house, a villa in the countryside, and even 5 maids to cater to her every whim. We didn't have any children, so I couldn't understand why she felt the need for such an excessive lifestyle. I was working hard, but no matter how much I earned, it was never enough. She always wanted more. It was as if she was trying to fill some void within herself with material possessions, and I was the one footing the bill. As the years went by, her demands became more and more ridiculous. I was drowning in debt, and our relationship was deteriorating rapidly. I tried to talk to her about it, to make her see reason, but she was so consumed by her desire for wealth and luxury that she couldn't see what she was doing to us. It all came to a head one night when I finally snapped. We were sitting in our lavish living room, and she was going on and on about how she wanted to buy a second villa in some exotic location. I couldn't take it anymore. The stress of trying to keep up with her demands was eating me alive, and I felt like I was on the verge of losing everything. "Shut up!" I finally yelled. "Just shut up." She stared at me in shock, and for a moment, there was silence. But then, without saying a word, she stood up, grabbed her purse, and walked out the door. She went to her parents' house, and that was the beginning of the end. Her parents, who had always been well off and supportive of her extravagant lifestyle, immediately started spreading rumors that I was abusing her. Our small town was quick to believe the worst, and soon, everyone was talking about how I was the villain in the relationship. My mother, who had always been proud of me, couldn't even go to the grocery store without being met with judgmental stares and whispers. It was a dark time for me. I had lost my wife, my reputation was in shambles, and I was left with mountains of debt and no support system. But through it all, my parents never gave up on me. They stood by me when no one else would, and for that, I will always be grateful. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, something incredible happened. I won the lottery. It was a surreal moment, and I couldn't believe my luck. For the first time in years, I felt a glimmer of hope. I was finally in a position to turn my life around, to spoil the people who had stood by me through thick and thin, my parents. But as soon as the news of my win spread, my ex-wife came crawling back. She called me, demanding half of the money, insisting that she was entitled to it because we had been married for so long. She even threatened to sue me if I didn't comply. I was shocked by her audacity. We had already divorced, and she had no legal claim to the money. I told her as much, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a sense of empowerment. She couldn't hurt me anymore. She couldn't control me with her demands and manipulation. With my newfound wealth, I focused on rebuilding my life. I paid off all my debts, bought a modest home, and made sure my parents were taken care of. I didn't go on a spending spree or indulge in the kind of excess that had ruined my marriage. Instead, I focused on the things that truly mattered: family, stability, and peace of mind. As for my ex-wife, she eventually faded into the background. The rich man she left me for turned out to be just as superficial and materialistic as she was, and their relationship didn't last. I heard through the grapevine that she tried to reconcile with her parents after things fell apart, but by then, the damage was done. Looking back, I realized that the woman I fell in love with all those years ago was never really the person I thought she was. She was driven by greed and a desire for status, and no amount of love or effort on my part could change that. It took losing everything for me to see the truth. But in the end, I'm better off for it. Today, I'm 39 years old, divorced, and finally at peace. My ex-wife may have tried to take everything from me, but she couldn't take my dignity, my resilience, or my love for the people who truly matter in my life. Winning the lottery may have been a stroke of luck, but it's the lessons I've learned and the strength I've gained that are my real fortune. If there's one thing I've learned from this whole experience, it's that happiness can't be bought. It comes from within, from the love and support of the people who stand by you when the world turns its back. And for that, I am forever grateful.